So we have Luis Rodríguez versus Denys Bondar. Luis Rodríguez, 15-2, 5-0 in his last five. He's coming off of a KO victory outside of the UFC, so this will be technically his UFC debut, but he did have a Dana White Contender Series loss in his record. He's fighting against Denys Bondar, 19-4. He is 3-2 in his last five, coming off of that technical decision loss, although it was a knockout loss if you actually watch the fight. Going back to the odds for this fight, actually, Luis Rodríguez minus 130 opened up at a plus 145. Alex, what do you think about Luis and Denys here?
Yep. So Luis dropping down a weight class. I think that's important to note. His last few fights were at bantamweight. Um, from the tape I've seen, he looks like a low volume power puncher, just someone who's loading up for the kill shot. Um, I think if he isn't able to land heavy on Bondar, I can see a decision or submission victory on the side of Bondar. As crazy as that sounds, I think stylistically speaking, Bondar looks pretty good in the cage. He has good head movement, and so volume, but definitely more than Luis Rodríguez. However, I do have question marks on his durability and overall fight IQ. Uh, because Bondar essentially got TKO'd in the final seconds of his fight against Carlos Hernandez, and that was a very, very bad look. So, a lot of question marks too on Bondar's side, but I feel like the pick has got to be Bondar. I don't think I can pick Rodríguez as a side here, so going with Bondar.
Yep, understandable right there. I mean, Luis, very calm to measure approach to striking. He's really looking to find that finish, like you mentioned. I do think he's able to move around the cage pretty well and track down his opponents. Pretty good at countering, which aligns with his patient approach. 7 KO wins, so he does have some power in his strikes. Can't be a bit low volume though, and too much of a kind of waiter in that style. Does not have the best defense on body and leg shots, so he can get pieced up there. Likes to fight on the feet. However, in his Dana White Contender Series fight, he actually pivoted to a grappling game plan and landed 2 out of 4 takedowns. Had about 6 minutes and 33 seconds of control time. He was actually outstruck all 3 rounds on the feet in that fight. His opponent, Jerome Rivera, went on to go 0-4 in the UFC. Not a great sign. Luis is in Mexico City. Been training Mexico City for the last 2 weeks. Bondar, I think he's a good wrestler. I think he has some good takedowns, so scramble well, can use the clinch as well to use trips and throws to get the fight to the mat. Striking's also decent. He has a good, nice overhand, mixes in with his takedown game pretty well with that overhand, and he can launch some power shots. Now he can be a bit wild on the feet and can be finished himself while throwing heavy. Bondar has been training at similar elevation and altitude at Jackson Wink. I think this will be a close fight. I will lean towards Luis being able to land the heavier shots and hurt Bondar in the feet. I think he could either find a KO finish or a club and sub. So pick here is Luis inside the distance. However, I'm staying away from this fight just because it is Luis' UFC debut, and we have not seen a good track record for UFC debuts fighters so far.